He's right. He's right. This is a bad look for them. It's a bad look for them.
They said they were going to move fast. The Rooney rule, he's right. Like, it's a good rule and it's also a bad rule. They got to tweak this thing because it's just like 2 throwaway interviews quick. Like, the second these names popped up, I sat here and chuckled yesterday. These guys weren't even in football. You're bringing them in. This is going to cross and check the box as a Rooney rule interview. And it just puts them on a spot. Like, it's not.
Well, you just look at those 2 candidates and you say, there's no shot they're going to get hired.
Yeah, I'm saying they're not seriously hiring them. So how do you take this as a serious intervieiew? And this is the way I made fun of other interviews in the past year, where you knew Billy O'Brien was getting a gig, but really bringing Keenan McCardle in to interview him, he's not getting a gig. Sean Jefferson's not getting a gig. You know, it's not fair to those guys. The league's got to find a way to tweak that too. Whether it's a timing thing or whether it's one candidate you interview.
Well, here's what I think
it's got to
part
be
of
a
the
big
problem
candidate.
is. You know who they should be interviewing right now? They should be interviewing Brian Flores.
Correct.
Brian Flores.
And that rule's BS too. This you can't interview till your team's not.
Right. Until after this week, yeah.
Hey, we went through this with Charlie and Romeo back in the day when you're winning, like teams couldn't come talk because the deeper you go into playoffs, it almost screws you in the hiring process of a new team.
Yeah, so that is part of the problem, just sort of the layout of the year. And maybe a better change if you wanted to sort of put teams in a bad position and would probably have teams thinking twice about firing coaches as quickly as they do, is you can't conduct any coaching searches until after the year is over.
That's the sad part.
Over.
That's the sad part.
You'd be thinking twice, like, oh no, do we want to go an entire 5 weeks without a head coach?
I remember the McDaniel story. Hey, I'm trying to get ready for Indy, and I'm doing this, and Bill just wants to go over the last third down rule before the game, and I got all this on my mind. And there's a guy like you bring up, Brian Flores, who has openly stated, I am very interested in a New England job.
But I got someone else for you that right now can interview. If you're doing a real search, you're not interviewing Byron Leftwich. Do you know who you're interviewing? If you are doing, if those candidates, you want me to take the minority candidates as part of the Rooney Rule seriously, why are you not talking to Aaron Glenn? Now that's a real candidate. That's a guy who deserves a serious look right now and should be a head coach. So that would be a real candidate.
Yeah.
Brian Flores is a real candidate. Aaron Glenn is a real candidate.
He's
not Pep Hamilton and Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, at least Aaron's been a defensive coordinator. You could say, okay, then why are you firing Gerard Mayo to bring a first-time guy with no experience as far as head coach? Yeah, but he's at least called plays for Detroit. Aaron Glenn's a defensive coordinator. He's got the title.
So the Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores thing is not a commentary on the Rooney Rule. It's a commentary on the Patriots.
Correct.
That if they're doing a real search, they're interviewing guys that you could seriously consider in the running for the job.
Right.
And you're not going to convince me that Byron Leftwich or Pep Hamilton
is a legitimate.
We're given a legitimate shot at being the Patriots head coach. They're not. This is an interview that tells you they're rushing the process and not going through a process.
They said they're going to move fast.
And that's Bert's point.
Yeah, but this is also why they fired him at 5:15 on Sunday. Like, hey, we're moving fast here. So, say what you want, call it a sham, but this is what they're doing.
Yeah, but it's a sham.
Kind of knew that when they announced who was in for interviews yesterday. I said that here. I got a little chuckle like, this isn't real.
Well, they put the guys on the same graphic when they tweeted it out, by the way. Right. It was like not even individual things. Saying you knocked it out.
Check. Yep.
So what's their motivation for moving so quickly would be my next question.
To not allow Vrabel get out there to hit other teams to get the steam rolling on that and to let other takers come in. You get him here Thursday and you try not to let him leave the building. That's what this is for. If he's your guy, and you got him circled, that's the one you want. And what do? Cancel the
Ben Johnson?
Yeah. Or do you get the Vrabel deal done, still do the Ben Johnson one, and then finalize Vrabel on Monday? I don't know.
Wouldn't you want to go into the Ben Johnson, though, interview with like an open mind here? This guy.
That's what I was told, that it was open. I was told, like, hey, that's the reason they want Ben, and this is not a sham process, and yeah, that he would get a fair nod here.
If Ben Johnson doesn't want to take part in any sort of rushed sham process, he should bow out of the interview.
He can withdraw it, yeah. Absolutely. And that would draw more eyes to it as far as being the sham process. Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed to hear that Vrabel was going to be on Thursday.
Why?
Because it happens before the Ben Johnson interview.
Yep.
And
hey, if he says he wants it, how do you let him leave?
Right.
That to me feels like they're not even going to get to Ben Johnson and give it a real chance.
Yeah.
Which they should. And I'm not for Ben Johnson. I'm not for the first-timers again. but I'm for a process. I'm for them learning. I'm for them
picking the brains to see how other work is done throughout the league and how other people think, as opposed to one guy for 24 years.
You get to spend half a day with Ben Johnson talking football with him. That's valuable.
That's great.
This guy's obviously a really bright guy and an up-and-comer in the league. So why would you not take advantage of that?
I don't know.
What you were calling around the league to talk about Gerard Mayo and Drake May to other guys that you know in the league. Guess what? You can have Ben Johnson on the line talking with him about Drake May for 3 hours. And about your offense and about receivers and what his philosophies are. You don't want to do that and take that seriously? Why would you not do it? It's free. It's just free knowledge.
Yep.
And if they like Vrabel so much, they've got Ben Johnson lined up for the weekend. And then what? Are we done? 4 candidates? We interview 4 people and it's over?
That's
and
pretty much
Vrabel's the coach on Monday?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, what are you so afraid of with Vrabel going to talk to the Raiders? Or Vrabel going...
Brady.
So that's real.
Real.
Brady and Seymour are important connections with the Raiders for Vrabel.
And you know how you feel about those two gentlemen. Yep.
So you think that by just getting him in the building and, as you say, not letting him leave means he's not going to give the Raiders an interview? Or he's not going to still consider them?
I mean, Vrabel come in and tell you, hey, I love the Chicago process. I'm not going to Jets, but Chicago's got me interested. Then I'm like, oh, crap. Then what do you think the Raiders are going to do?
I get the connections. What's a better job right now? Raiders or New England?
New England's a better job.
I don't think it's close. So I do think the Patriots have leverage there with Vrabel.
That's why I say to them, what are you afraid of, Patriots? Why are you afraid to let Mike Vrabel go interview with the Raiders or go interview with the Bears? And I know that Vrabel's probably your favorite, but I said this and I stand by it. If going through the process, and I don't even believe it's true, but if it does, means you run the risk of losing Mike Vrabel, it's still worth it. I said it 2 weeks ago. I would not complain if they went through the real thing and they lost out on a guy. You're not going to lose out on him. You're not. You're not going to lose a guy because you let a coach go interview somewhere. If you're the best place and you're offering the best salary and you're offering the best quarterback situation and cap situation, if you care about that, then you're going to win. And if you don't, guess what? There are other people capable of coaching an NFL team better than what you had a year ago. Oh, then I guess you got to go to your second guy, Ben Johnson. Oh, that's terrible, right? I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
There are other guys out there that could coach your team and do a good job. Rushing it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.